morning, garden gals and guys. It's Steph with Tiny's Garden, and today is the day I am going to take you on the first tour ever of my woodland garden here in my front yard on both sides. It's really coming together nicely. A lot of it was there when we moved in a couple years ago, but I've also planted several things as well. So I wanted to take you on that ride today. Let's go take a look. Okay, I'm going to take you to the very front of our driveway so you can see how these gardens sit on our property. Here I'm standing on the road, and this is the entrance to our driveway. But there's this beautiful grass that's actually very sharp, but it gets incredibly big. This will go at least as high as the mailbox. Then we've got some hostas underneath with Stella de Oro daylilies. Another variegated hosta, which I like, adding in that different texture and color there. And then a spirea. I am not sure of the variety, but that is all over up here. And actually I would do a little less of this throughout these areas, but it is a nice woodland plant. On the other side, this I think gets quite a bit more sun than I expected, so I could come in and add some things in here, but it's essentially repeating what's on the opposite side. And I've come in, and if you look really closely, I have planted some foxglove, and I'm hoping it'll take next year. And there's one way back tucked in there, hard to see. There it is. So I'm hoping I'll have some nice, beautiful foxglove surrounding this mailbox next year. Wouldn't that be pretty? This area will be planted up with annuals soon for a nice display. This was tulips in the spring, but we've got hydrangeas all throughout this bed over here. I believe it's the Incredible variety. I did not plant those. Those were something that were there. But I want to point out this huge, obnoxious nemesis here in our village. It is called buckthorn, and it is incredibly invasive, and it spreads like wildfire. It is all over our property, and I'll show you a glimpse of that in a second. But this we have to dig out and stay on top of because it will get enormous. This is near our property line, and everything you can see right now is buckthorn. It gets that big. Let me back up so you can get a full picture here. Our village actually reimburses us 50% if we come in and take the buckthorn out because it's so invasive to our area. We have a ton of it, so it would be very expensive right now. I would like to do it in the future, but this is why we have to stay on top of that. So we'll come in and dig that out. But as we go back this way, look at that gorgeous hydrangea. And then as we come over this way, see, my dog is getting involved in the flowers. But we have the silver gumdrop euchera, looking gorgeous. And then in here is where I had a lot of tulips this spring. They were the ballroom fringe variety and absolutely gorgeous, so I'm keeping them here. And they're starting to fade. So I'd like to come in here and put a mid-sized woodland plant. Axel, what are you doing, bug? You're so funny. I'm going to show you what it looks like when I cut the tulips back. So here's an example of one that's still pretty green. All of these that are up are still pretty green besides this one. You can hardly even see it because of the sun, but it is yellow and burnt. I'll come in and clip that off. This is when I clip them. When they're like this, they're still sending a lot of energy into the bulb, which increases their likelihood of coming back next year. Then as we look at it from this side, we have Stella de Oro daylilies, a big drift through here. Coming up on this way, a stilby. There's two that are planted. I would plant a third right here. I think I will come in and do that eventually. And as we peek through, I love this view. Look at those sweet peas. Sneaking back here, let's take a look at them. Aren't they just gorgeous? They are doing so beautifully in this spot here. And if we peek down here, do you see what I see? By golly, yes, that's a gorgeous, gorgeous dahlia. I planted some last year. They didn't really work, but I think I might have some luck this year, y'all. So now panning over here, you can see we've got more hydrangeas. And down this way, we've got a big drift of what I believe is autumn, joyful autumn. Oh my gosh, it's eluding me the name, but it is a sedum, and it's a great burst of color toward the late summer and fall. And I like the texture that brings through the front of this bed as well. Through here, this middle layer here is bee balm or monarda, and it is a hot pink variety. It is so pretty when it's in bloom. And if we look in here, we're getting ready for some blooms very soon. And then down here in the front, I have lost some of these, but I planted Artemisia, and this is my favorite texture in the garden. If we come in close here, it is like the lightest, feathery, beautiful green color, but it's struggling this year. So I either need to come in and plant more, or maybe it's just not going to work in this heavy clay, fairly wet soil. And we have a grouping of 3 lungwort in here. They were blooming. They are spent now. I need to come in and clean those up quite a bit. Then as we come to the back here, you can see all of these different hostas. These were there. They fill in really nicely because this gets a lot of shade as well. Now this guy here was on clearance. I think I got him for 80 bucks, which I was pretty excited about. It's a tiger eyes sumac. You can see he's taken some time to put on some growth along that left side, but this fall color is amazing. And let me show you this view. I want you to picture this. I think of late summer into fall with the big white balls of hydrangea, the monarda with that burst of pink, and then the fall color back here with the tiger eyes. And I've got another dahlia here and through the middle that will give me big blooms as well. Coming from around this tiger eyes sumac is one of those dahlias right there. It's coming up. I'm so excited. And then the second one, as we cruise back here, behind this bee balm is the next one. It is half eaten, but it's there and I'll take it. Hopefully it will continue to bloom. So from this front side, the dahlias are here, about right in the middle, and then right here. And then bringing up the back of this bed, I've got some gorgeous hibiscus that I did put in. This one, I believe, is the Midnight Marvel. And this one's a white one. I believe it's the Rose Mallow. I'm going to have to look these up. And then also another Midnight Marvel back there. They're hot. Everything is hot. You can see the irises are in the front there. They've already bloomed. Now coming across the way here, you'll probably be able to see better because now I've got this bed that's in the shade. Okay, let's view this from the front here. That light post is going to go. It drives me crazy. It's pretty rinky-dinky, but we've got to get the electrical fixed first. So down here, I rearranged a couple things this spring. I put these tall grasses in a couple years ago. I'm really happy with them. It's blue teal. And I just moved that third one a few weeks ago. So that should catch up with these, I'm hoping. And then we've got black-eyed Susans right there. Panning over, I have planted foxglove seedlings that are looking really good and healthy right through here. And I'm hoping they take, because there's a nice drift of them. We would have some foxglove blooms right through there. Wouldn't that just be gorgeous? I believe it's the peach Dalmatian. I'll double check. But I can't wait. So far they seem really healthy, and this seems to be a good spot for them. So I'm happy with that. Then we've got these two plants here that were planted before I lived here. I believe that is a blue lobelia. And I added these, which I think, if I remember right, the variety is wildberry euchera, and I love them. The punch of purple that it gives this bed, and they're pretty big, I think is just gorgeous. We've got the spearmint, so kind of mirroring on the other side, spearmint euchera right here. Loving that. This view through here I really enjoy. And in the back over here, a huge mound of Stella de Oro daylilies that was there before I moved in. My big tulip show is over here in the spring, and it is nice that these Stella de Oro really camouflage them by the time the tulips are all fleshed out. That is this bed. And then just to give you an idea, the service berries are these three trees here, which were again planted before we got here, and I really like them. I think it adds a sub canopy to these gorgeous gems, which are our swamp white oak trees, and they are so high. I don't want to blind you with the sun, but I don't even know how high that is. They're enormous. As we move to the back, I did plant some columbine last year. I planted 1, 2, and there's a third. It's so small right over here, and they have done terrible. I'll be honest. So I think I've got to come in with something else here. And as we travel back this way, you can see some more of that spirea and hostas. Love the color that this hosta gives this space. And as we come around here, through this side is where I put those black forest cake eucheras. And let me show you this view from the side in the yard because I love it. You can see all those different varieties of green hostas, the spirea, and then that big punch. Well, it's not too big, but it's enough. It holds its own in that group of 3 there, that punch of black forest cake with the really dark variegation. I love what that brings to this really shady spot over here. These two beds are really coming together, and I'm so pleased. It's definitely a woodland garden, but it's pretty and it's natural, and I think it works. And that's it for this woodland tour, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Please comment below and let me know if you live in a woodland what your favorite woodland shrub or flower or plant is, because it can be tricky. Like I said, our soil is pretty wet, very hard clay, and a lot of shade or part shade. So it's tricky to get a lot of different interests sometimes, but it's also a really tranquil type of garden in a way, if that makes sense, a woodland garden. So I'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts. And if you aren't in a woodland, comment below and let me know what you think the best part about these gardens are, because if you think it's going to be the dahlias, I'm going to try and plant more dahlias. If you think it's the euchera, I'm going to try and plant more euchera. I really want that front entrance to just be jam-packed with stuff, and I want to add even more color. So stay tuned and I'll update you as the season goes. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to follow along here with all things garden. I do have other areas on the property I will give you a tour of. It's just that I want to keep this video somewhat limited because I don't want it to be forever long. So I will get to those parts later as well. Stay tuned. Don't miss a video. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a stellar day. We will see you in the next one. Happy planting. Bye.